All right, how's it going, everybody? Drew Peoples from Peoples Collectibles, and I'm here today with some Murders at Karlov Manor play boosters. I went to my local game store. It's actually called Your Local Game Store. I'm not even joking. You can look it up, Mint Hill, North Carolina. And yeah, this is only my third pre-release I've done there since being back in the States. So I did Modern Horizons 2 and then Baldur's Gate the summer before last, and I've been wanting to go a bit here and there, and then being an adult and having social anxiety, it bounds and years go by, blah 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 blah. Anyway, I finally went again yesterday because I wanted to check out what the deal was with play boosters and how it would affect the limited format. And yeah, I gotta say, I mean, outside of obviously the price gouging, which if my memory serves me, so this it was $40 for the pre-release event yesterday, and I'm filming this February 4th, Super Bowl Sunday, and pretty sure it was $30 before for standard pre-releases. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know it's obviously going to be different in different parts of the country and around the world and all that, but yeah, even with the price hike, I think the play boosters definitely make uh, it a more fun experience because you're getting more rares, and then I feel like it's not as crazy and bomb heavy because everyone's getting more rares, and there's a chance for people to have more bombs and uh, better answers. Because right, like it's only 14 cards instead of 15 cards, and at least from what I saw, it does seem like the common and uncommon slot. There's a lot better cards in those slots, right? So there's better removal and interaction, whereas before, there's not as much just like absolute chaff. Like there's decent stuff. And I mean, speaking of bombs, here's the guy who I got in my first pack, Kaya Spirit's Justice, who I think is the only planeswalker in the set, right? Because all of them got like D-Sparks. So there's not really that many planeswalkers now. I think it was the Elephant and Ixalan, and now Kaya in this set. So I don't think I mentioned this. So I was undefeated. Did I say that yet, or am I just like trying to act real cool or something? But anyway, yeah, I went undefeated, so I was quite happy about that. It's my first time going undefeated at one of their pre-release events, so that felt nice. And for it, I got 5 packs, which I'm going to open here today, and 2 promo cards. We got Urza, Prince of Krug, like the foil and the retro frame, and that was one that everybody got for just participating. And then since I went undefeated, they let me choose a promo out of their box, and I didn't want to spend too much time like looking all around. So I was like, "Oh, Dramatic Reversal! This is my signature spell in my Tezzeret Oathbreaker deck," and was like, "All right, yeah, dude, yeah, 2016." I'm like, and I love Dramatic Reversal; it's such a cool card. So yeah, I'll take that. And yeah, and then the promos from the actual pre-release thing. So that was my gold stamp promo, right? And then there was this guy, Tomik, and they told us that the one with the promo without the gold stamp you couldn't actually play. And I didn't know at the time that there was this promo slot was like only one of 3, which is why you weren't allowed to play it, right? Because there wouldn't be enough variability in the draft if everyone had access to one of 3 promos. But for me, I saw this, right? And this I actually opened um, the promo cards after opening the packs. But my first pack, I got Kaya, and then I looked at the promo cards and was like, okay. I already knew this was on top, right? So I saw Kaya and was like, okay, sweet, I got Kaya. I have the dual land to support her. And then when I finally opened it up and then saw this guy and was like, are you freaking kidding me? I can't play the Orzhov guy who has affinity for planeswalkers, and I got the only plane. But anyway, that's the reasoning. And I guess also the reasoning for why they added an extra promo in the pre-release kit is so, they price gouged. It went up like 30 something percent, and they're giving you one fewer card, even if they're technically giving you more rares and everything. So it was like, hey man, look, we'll give you an extra shiny card, right? That's what you people want, more shiny. All right. So what I'm going to be doing here today is I'm going to be cracking these prize packs, and then I'm going to just go through the deck that I built and kind of talk about how I constructed it and thoughts and the games that I had for anyone interested in that. But yeah, of course, first, it's all about the gambling, right? It's all about the gambling. So let's see if I got anything in any of these prize packs here today. Right? And at the game store, when they do the prize out, they just open up a booster box and uh, give you packs out of that based on your winnings and everything. So I went undefeated, right? And there were 16 players. So it was me and one other person who both had a 3-0 record. And I guess the prize for that is 5 packs, which, spent $40 for basically 11 packs and like 4 promos. Pretty happy about that. All right, here's our token. Foil land. Always love a cool foil, full art land. All right, foil murder. There she is again. Kaya, Spirits Justice, take 2. World Souls Rage. Another rare there. And then our uncommons. We got our showcase card there. The Deuce. I really wanted to play blue just to have cards like the Deuce. It's such a fun card. Escape Tunnel. I didn't actually get one of these. Basically just Evolving Wilds with a mini Rogue's Passage tacked onto it. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right. Well, I got 2 Kayas now. Just something about Kayas like attracted to me. I don't know what it is. Every set there's a Kaya. I get Kaya after Kaya. But at least, like I said, this is from the same booster box. So at the very least, not gonna get any more Kayas, I don't think. Maybe I'll get like a special showcase foil Kaya, and then I'll be like, see, what did I tell you? I told you she's obsessed with me. Told you. All right. First, I saw a showcase card. I was like, is this actually gonna be like a showcase foil Kaya real quick? Nope, it's just an uncommon. Barb Servitor. Raucous Theater. And then we got our uncommons, our showcase. This was great in limited, by the way. Great limited removal. And a lot of removal. There was. Actually, the last match that I played, the dude was like, oh my god, you have so much removal in your deck. And I was, that's not that much. And then I counted and it was like, for a 40 card deck, that is actually a considerable amount of removal. A lot of good options to make some decent limited decks, it seems, with this format. Villainous Rage. Krenko's Buzz Crusher. And that's our only rare there. Oh, and I'm also going to go through the original 6 packs that I opened and see how many rares are you actually getting, as opposed to just like, a normal average of 6 as you would in the draft booster, outside of, the very rare chance of getting like a foil rare 6 packs, which it happens, but for the most part, you're only going to get 6 rares and 6 draft boosters, and RIP to draft boosters, by the way. Have a moment of silence for them. Oh, I got another one. That's so cute. You're a good boy. All right. Mentor the Meek. All right. Another thing I was going to say is list cards. My God, I guess the probability of pulling one went down. Did not see many list cards circulating. So, I mean, it's an interesting concept, having a more curated list set and then allowing them to actually be played in draft. But yeah, I wish I would have power 2 or less. That was like half the theme of my deck. Why didn't you come before, man? Jeez Louise. All right. Damn, I saw the blue case and I was like, don't be another one of these. I got one of these in the other. Okay, another dual land. Happy. I really, I'm not a fan of tap lands, but they got to do something. And the temples, scrying 1, not worth it. Surveil, just so much better than scry. I mean, it really is. Any deck that cares about loading up the graveyard, yeah, you'd rather put the card in the graveyard instead of putting it on the bottom and never seeing it again, right? You're always going to get more value, I feel, out of Surveil than putting it on the bottom, unless you have one of those weird cards like that Doctor Who card that draws from the bottom, or I don't know if it's something you need later and you reshuffle your deck and maybe it'll come back up or you can tutor for it later, whatever. But by and large, Surveil is better than Scry in the majority of scenarios, and that makes these dual lands actually acceptable. Oh, and the other massive thing, the fact that they actually have the basic land typing. That's the other thing. If it was just Surveil, I mean, I might play it in certain decks, but wouldn't see as much play. But yeah, the fact that it's the basic land types that just matter so much nowadays that yeah, the coming in tap doesn't. I can look past it in those specific scenarios. All right. So last pack. Can we get some spice? And I still haven't looked at the current EV of anything in this set. So yeah. The one card I really want is the turtle thing for my Arcades deck. Giant turtle. All right. Giant turtle. Giant turtle. And the art cards, as you can see, so out of 5 packs, got 1 art card. In the pre-release kit of 6 packs, I think I got 1, maybe, actually, I think 2. So I'm like, dude, just make them all gold stamped then, and then decrease the probability of pulling them even less. So I mean, have get 3 in it or 1 in every 12 packs, so 3 in every 36, and then make art. People actually want art cards even more, but whatever. Call a surprise witness. Do we have a Rakdos big boy? Who are you, Judith? Well, she is not a big boy, but she is a scary lady. And that's it. Another deduce, no dramatic accusation. All right. Well, nothing too crazy. Maybe if I didn't already have the Kaya, I would have said that was crazier. I don't think she's worth anything. Watch her be like crazy, but I don't know. I have little faith in Kaya because she keeps popping up in all the other Kayas. Like the Innistrad Crimson Vow one, I actually quite like. She was in Conspiracy first, which I didn't know about that until after. Ravnica, not remastered, Allegiance and Guilds of Ravnica. I think she's from Allegiance, right? I didn't know who she was before that, and that was the first time I got one of her cards. And actually, and remastered, didn't they downshift her to a rare? Because I try to make that card work, and it doesn't work. So yeah, this Kaya considerably better. And if you haven't seen this card, 4 mana, comes in with 3 loyalty. Her passive ability is whenever 1 or more creatures you control and or creature cards in your graveyard are put into exile, you may choose a creature card from among them until end of turn. Target token you control becomes a copy of it, except it has flying. And with her +1, she's able to make 1/1 white and black spirit creature tokens with flying. So then, she generates the tokens then to choose them with her passive ability. Her +2 is her Veil 2. Then exile a card from a graveyard, and her -2 exile target creature you control. For each other player, exile up to 1 target creature that player controls. So, this was my big bomb. I played her all of twice. The first time I played her, I used her -2, and then my opponent immediately destroyed her. And then also I had a creature that ready to block, and she played like an instant card to give her dude plus whatever and fight my creature, and then kill Kaya as well. And then I lost that game. And then the championship, the last match number 3, I played her and she won me the game. Actually, I got her 3 times, so it was twice in the final match, and in game 1 and game 2. And my opponent played it was some Simic guy that beginning of combat on their turn they got to cloak a card from their hand or put 1/1 counter on all their colorless creatures. And yeah, but he played that the first time. Played Kaya, did the -2. The second game, did that again. I had no response. Was like, well, I'm fucked. And then I drew Kaya off the top and was like, dude, I'm so sorry, man. So sorry I got to do this to you again. And I almost didn't because I was like, damn, I really want to do something other than her -2. And then my opponent immediately responds and destroys her. But, sometimes, removal's removal. And even though those other abilities can be cool, the fact that she was able to remove that problem creature the 2 times that I needed to, especially that second game, I would have lost if I wouldn't have gotten rid of that creature as soon as I had a chance to respond. So thank you for that, Kaya. Um, like I said, not on my watch. That was some great removal there. Long Goodbye, another piece of great removal, especially can't be countered. This includes by the ward ability. So this was one of those cards. So I never got to do this specifically. This killed a lot of the cloaked creatures or disguised creatures, the 2/2s with ward, because yeah, you don't have to pay the ward costs, and their creatures are planeswalkers with mana value 3 or less. But what I really wanted to do was when my opponent played their disguise cost to flip their creature back up with that ability on the stack, be like, oh yeah, I'm going to respond to that with Long Goodbye. That's just such a massive tempo play in your favor. But this card still, and actually, yeah, my last game, my opponent was down to 1, and I had my doggy boy with Menace, and they played their creature that was like a 5/5 that could sacrifice an artifact to give them lifelink. So they were about to restate. Oh, and then they had they brought back like one of their little creatures, right? So they had their 2 creatures for my menace, and their one guy they could block and give him lifelink, and then go back from 1 to 6 and probably restabilize and win that game possibly. But then I was able to Long Goodbye in response, get rid of their second blocker, and then my doggy boy was able to come in for that lethal swipe. And like I was saying, power 2 or less was a big thing here. This guy was great, and I didn't realize until like one of the last games that, oh wait, he can also just target himself. It's not target other creature. So that's an awesome card. Automaton, funny story about this. One of my games, I drew him and 3 black mana. So the mana distribution here was 8 white, 8 black, and the dual land. And yeah, one of the games I drew 3. My opening hand was 3 swamps and this guy. And I said, all right, well, I know there's 9 other. There's 9, not other, because I didn't have any white sources. There are 9 white sources in my deck. I have 7 cards. This surveils one. I'm gonna hit a white source eventually. Yeah, I lost the game. I didn't hit a single friggin' white source, man. He even surveilled a card away. It was a white card that I was like, well, I can't play that because I don't have any white mana. And like literally out of, I think I drew 6 cards before it was like, yeah, this game's over, GG. 6 or 7 cards, I drew 4 more black mana. No joke. So yeah, and then like I was telling one guy yesterday, um, I've gotten much better at limited because I've accepted when I need to mulligan, and that was one of those examples that I should have 100%ed mulliganed, because you can say, oh yeah, you'll probably draw a white. You have to ask yourself, but if I don't within like 5 or 6 cards, do I just lose the game? And the answer is yes, I do just lose the game. And there was a high enough probability that I wouldn't draw one, because even though 9 out of, what is that, 33 cards left, right? That's what, a 1 in 4? More, over a little, 1 in 4 would be 9 out of 36, right? And I was on the draw. So you would say, okay, well, yeah, that's over 1 in 4. So within, 4 or 5 turns, yeah, you would absolutely, especially with the surveil as well, which kind of counts as an extra draw in a way, absolutely you would hit at least 1 white source. But yeah, that's still a low enough probability that not worth. It's better to lose a card and reshuffle. Anyway, oh, this card, this was a bomb, man. This was awesome. All right, so you equip 2, you give your guy +2, and I had quite a few flyers in here. So yeah, I won multiple games just beating my opponent over the face with a flyer that was like a 2 or 3 attacker, making him a 4 or 5 attacker was crazy. And then there was another game, one of my last games, where I was able to sacrifice it, gain 3 life, pay the 2, make 2 1/1s. And then those 2 1/1s were able to stop my opponent because I had another equipment. I had the guy who puts 1/1 counters on your. I had lead pipe out. Here's the Gorehound, the menace guy. Who, yeah, actually that was the winning play right there. Lead pipe and Gorehound. And like I said, I destroyed their second blocker and just Masquerade. Now this is one of those cards. The first game that I played, or first match rather, this barely came in at all, and I almost considered taking it out because of that. And it is kind of memey. You have to have some board, and you have to have some stuff in your graveyard for this to matter in the first place. But there was one game that I had nothing I was going to lose. And this just wiped my opponent so hard that I was like, damn, I'm so glad I kept this in because I forgot I remember the Gorehound was one of them, and I had another creature. And I put this out, and it has splash, right? In response to blocking an opponent's creature. And I was able to bring back my 3/2 flyer. And then on top of that, the caveat, right, is that you exile the card, right? But I had the Gorehound, and I ended up playing another creature, and then I surveilled and put a decent creature into the graveyard, and the Gorehound still had that imposter counter on him. So if my opponent wanted to block or wanted to attack, I could just block with the Gorehound, bring this nice creature back, and then they were screwed. And I was just hitting them over the top with the 3 mana flyer. So yeah, this card was super duper dope. I quite liked it, even though I think it was only that one in particular game that it actually did something. It's definitely risky. It's one of those cards you look at and it's like, yeah, that's going to be a dead card a lot of the time. But when it works, my God, was that fun. All right, there's our land. Magnifying glass. Here's the guy, right? Put a 1/1 counter on a creature with power 2 or less whenever he ETBs or attacks. Tense District Hero. This was one. Awesome card. What is it? Figure of Destiny or Spirit of Destiny, whatever his name is. Similar to that, right? Um, Gets to upgrade and then keep those upgrades. And even though I never got to do even the first ability, because this was when my opponent either got rid of them real quick, or there was one game where my opponent had the key thing that when he does damage to me, he gets to draw 3 cards. So I had a double block with him and my dude who was disguised. And of course, he chose this one. But honestly, I mean, right there, that was good enough. The threat of this, my opponent wanting to remove that, and then my disguise guy being the 2/1 flying lifelink who was just able to beat him over the top of the head with equipment attached to him and, put such difference in our life total that because they didn't have any quick enough removal, that it was just the game. Sometimes just having a card that makes your opponent use that removal, even if the card by itself doesn't really do anything necessarily, fishing out removal is very, very important. And the fact that, that's a massive threat for not having to do very much. I mean, collect evidence 2 and collect evidence 4 really isn't that much. But there's the guy I was talking about, Sanguine Savior, right? So 2/1 flying in lifelink. And yeah, that came up so much. That, I mean, really just being able to hit him over the top of the head and being able to gain that life and having 3 equipments that give +2 attack, so then 4 life, making a difference of 8 life total in every attack from a single creature is pretty massive, especially limited. Novice Inspector, yeah, 2 of these and 2 of the Gorehounds just really helped me get through the deck. Very, very aggressive, just like Thraben Inspector. I mean, having that 2 toughness, any 1/1s that want to try to come in for that cheap damage at the beginning makes it a lot more difficult. Griffnot Tracker, this is one that I put in at least one. I'm pretty sure there's a second one in here too. And my thought process was I have 2 of these and 2 of the 2/1 flying lifelink. Sometimes flying in limited just wins you games because your opponent's not going to have flyers and you're just going to be able to beat them over the top of the head. And yeah, that worked. And, that exiling up to 2 target creatures from a single graveyard, that helped a lot. Yeah, I mean, prevented my opponent from being able to collect evidence in a fashionable way. There's a few guys, like there's a common green guy you can exile, put a 1/1 counter on a guy. I was able to get rid of that. Kaya's ability, I could use this to exile a creature from my own graveyard to then turn her tokens into copies of that creature. That never came up. That was a line that could have been there, so just having that there was helpful. There's the other Gorehound, another Inspector, another Savior, Agency Coroner, the only 5-cost card in this deck, the most expensive card in the deck. Still played 17 lands regardless, just because there were enough in the 4 slot that my understanding is that you want to try to have 17. If you really rely on having a 4 mana play, then the 17 mana is very helpful to help get there. But a lot of low stuff still. This guy being 5, I was like, you know what, he's 3/6. That's going to help me block some stuff, and then being able to sack creatures to draw I literally have no way to make any of my creatures suspected, so that the rest of that is flavor text. So 3 mana to sack a creature and draw a card is pretty expensive. 5 mana for a 3/6 is pretty expensive. But out of what I had, it was like a one of for this makes sense. And the time that I played him, I mean, it helped. I don't think I ever activated that ability, but just having that creature with massive toughness prevented my opponent from just being able to annihilate me. Wrench, there's the other equipment. So you have the wrench, the lead pipe, and the doggy ham bone thing. All 1 mana spells that equip for 2 that give. Oh, sorry, the other 2 were +2 attack. This one was 1/1 in vigilance and tap target creature. And this was one that there was a game my opponent didn't realize. So I had this and actually ended up, they were down to 4 and had 2 blockers. And I had 2 Gorehounds, 1/1 menace. I had some big, was it 10th district here? No, it was that 4/4 guy. And then I had a novice inspector, and they were down to 4, right? So I equipped on my turn. I equipped this to the novice inspector, attacked, and then before they declared blockers, paid 3, tapped the novice inspector, and tapped down one of their blockers. Because again, they're down to 4. I've got these 2 guys at menace. Well, it didn't even if they didn't have menace. So they're down to 1 blocker now, and it's like, all right, well, that's 4 damage in those 3 creatures over here, even if I block the biggest, so that's game. Yeah, that was awesome. 1/1 in vigilance is already nice, but having that capability of 3 and tapping after you declare an attack and tap down, or you have 3 open mana, tapping down their creature before they pass their turn, all really good plays. And also, it's also a clue. So 2 and sacrificing it to draw a card, also helpful. So love that card. That's awesome. There's the other Griffnot tracker. Case of the Gateway Express. My God, this was one that I was like, is this card really going to be that decent? This won me some games. 2 mana. When it enters the battlefield, choose target creature you don't control. Each creature you control deals 1 damage to that creature. So, like I said, quite a bit of removal here. That helped quite a few times. And then that second part, so you solve it by 3 or more creatures attacking this turn. So if you've attacked with 3 or more creatures at the end of your turn, this becomes a mini anthem. And you have +1 attack. That was so aggressive. There was one game where they were just blindsided. I had 3 creatures, they had 1, killed their 1 creature, attacked with 3, and then it was like, all right, now it just, it is what it is. And then there's murder. Destroy target creature for 3. Always nice. But yeah, that was an awesome draft. And I was also, so I considered doing 3 colors because I got Aurelia. Whenever a player attacks 3 or more creatures, draw a card, and that includes my opponent for both these abilities here. Whenever a player attacks with 5 or more creatures, Aurelia, the law above, deals 3 damage to each of your opponents, and you gain 3 life. So there was a lot of stuff in there with attacking, just like that Getaway Express that I just talked about, and just a 5 mana 4/4 flying vigilance haste. I mean, if that's all this card said, that would still be good and limited, right? I remember, what is it, Lightning Angel being dope back in the day, which is 4 mana instead of 5, but it's just flying vigilance haste. And even, I mean, this is again back in the day, but still, that was, that kind of stat line would still be decent, at least in limited. So the fact that it's 4/4 for 5 flying vigilance haste, that alone would see play in limited, but then being able to draw you cards and deal damage and gain you life, just like I was talking about the life difference, right? Every time 5 or more creatures are attacking, putting 6 life points between you and your opponent can be massive. And then if that happens, you're also drawing a card. So yeah, a lot to be said about Aurelia. And here's the other rares that I got. Assassin's Trophy. That card sucks. Here's the Deuce. And this was like the signpost Boros card. The other reason I was thinking of splashing in. So attack with 3 or more creatures, investigate, 5 mana, 4/5 with haste. So yeah, there were quite a few red cards that would have made sense, but I didn't get one of those evolving wild cards. And like I said, there was that one game, even my mana being evenly distributed, I didn't get any white mana. So adding in the 3rd color could have really hurt my game plan, even though Aurelia would have been really, really helpful. So yeah, cool. That was a longer video than I was expecting, but I really enjoyed doing this pre-release event, and yeah, I'm hoping to do more limited because I miss it quite a bit. And I think my desire to play cards outweighs my social anxiety. We shall see. All right, thanks for joining me. Catch everyone next time.